Okay, so we're looking into something kind of disturbing today.
Yeah.
This YouTube video you sent over, Babala sa comunidad, which roughly translates to like a warning to the community,
Right?
and it's about this art angel character. But I
Yeah.
gotta say, this isn't like your typical struggling artist kind of
No,
stories.
no, not at all. This is something much darker, I think.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the potential dangers lurking in these online spaces,
Right.
particularly for, Filipino communities.
Mm,
It seems like this art angel used their artistic talent as a way to gain people's trust and then
exploit it.
exactly exploit that trust in really harmful ways.
Yeah, and right off the bat, this video throws us for a loop.
Mhm.
They start listing all these different names: Art Angel, Illustrator, Artist Devil, Mr. Cartoonist. It's almost like they're trying to be intentionally misleading. Like, why so many names? Why is that such a big deal?
It's like he's trying to hide in plain sight,
Yeah.
creating this smoke screen of identities. So it becomes really difficult to pin down who they really are or if they is even just one person.
Right, like what are they trying to hide?
Exactly. And that's what makes it so difficult to track these kinds of predators down online.
And then it gets worse. The accusations against this art angel, seriously disturbing. It starts with him targeting this young girl online, making inappropriate comments, creepy drawings.
Yeah, and that's how these predators often operate, right? They test the waters, see how far they can push the boundaries before someone calls them out.
And it seems like with Art Angel, it just escalated from there.
Right, and when there's no pushback, no consequences, the behavior escalates. It goes from these uncomfortable interactions to more direct threats, harassment.
Yeah, and it's like he specifically targeted people he thought were easier to manipulate. It mentions women, people with disabilities, people in the LGBTQ plus community, even someone battling cancer. It's just awful.
Absolutely, and that's a classic tactic of abusers and manipulators. They prey on vulnerability.
It's scary how calculated it all seems.
Yeah.
And honestly, part of me wants to believe I could never be fooled by someone like that.
I think we all want to believe that,
Uh-huh.
but the reality is these online predators, they can be incredibly convincing.
So how do they do it? How do they suck people in?
Well, for one, they often create this persona of being charming, understanding they might shower their victims with compliments, agree with everything they say.
Oh, so they basically create this illusion of a perfect friend, someone who gets you completely.
Exactly. They tap into our desire for connection, validation, and they exploit that need.
It's like love bombing almost.
It is, yeah. It's a very manipulative form of love bombing, and it can be incredibly effective because it creates this intense feeling of intimacy and trust. And once that trust is established, it's easy for the predator to start pushing boundaries, manipulating the victim.
That's terrifying, especially in this context where you're talking about people who are already in a vulnerable position.
It's really about power and control, and that's why this Babala sa Comunidad video is so important, because it's a call to action.
It is. What can our listeners do, though? I mean, how do you protect yourself from something like this?
Well, first off, always trust your gut instinct. If something feels wrong, it probably is.
Okay, so trust your instincts. What else?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Do your research. Don't just take someone's online persona at face value. If something seems off, look for inconsistencies. Be wary of anyone who's asking for personal information too soon.
Right, because online, anyone can pretend to be anything. So you're saying double check, verify, don't just take their word for it.
Exactly.
Now, this video also calls out specific instances of harassment and threats made by Art Angel. Is there anything people can do if they see that happening online, even if it's not happening to them directly?
Absolutely. If you see something, say something. Report it. Most platforms have clear reporting mechanisms for harassment and abuse, and if you ever feel like someone is in immediate danger, don't hesitate to contact law enforcement.
It's about looking out for each other, especially in these online spaces.
Exactly. We have to create a culture of online safety where we're not afraid to speak up and hold each other accountable.
This whole situation with Art Angel, though, it makes you wonder, have we maybe put too much emphasis on anonymity online?
That's a really good question, and it's a tough one. Anonymity has its place, for sure, but like we're seeing in this case, it can also be a shield for predators.
Right. It's this weird double-edged sword. So I guess the question is, how do we find that balance? How do we protect free speech while also making it harder for people to hide behind fake identities and cause harm?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There's no easy answer. And it's something we need to keep talking about, keep grappling with as technology and online communities continue to evolve.
It's definitely something to think about, for sure. And I really appreciate you taking the time to break all of this down for us. This art angel case is really disturbing, but hopefully by shining a light on it and talking about these issues, we can all be a little bit safer online.
I hope so too.
Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And for our listeners, stay safe out there, be vigilant, and remember, if something feels wrong online, trust your gut. Until next time.